Hello and welcome to GBN Originals. I'm Emily Carver. Now, as you may have seen, Sir Keir Starmer, well, he's been accused of breaking lockdown rules. Why? Well, a voice coach, an actress, came to the Labour headquarters during COVID. Now, it wasn't just during COVID. It was at the height of the Tier 4 restrictions. That was when everyone in London was being told that they had to stay at home to protect the NHS, to protect lives, and to ensure that COVID did not spread. But it would appear, according to allegations by two Sunday Times journalists, that Keir Starmer, our Prime Minister, as the Labour Party leader in opposition, well, he considered a voice coach on Christmas Eve 2020 a key worker. Now, the Labour Party has denied that the Prime Minister breached COVID rules back in December 2020 for employing this actress and voice coach, Leonie Mellinger, to apparently help him to prepare a response to Boris Johnson's Brexit deal. Why was it so important that on Christmas Eve, at the height of the pandemic, that he had a voice coach / actress teach him how to speak better? At the time, London and the South East were all under these Tier 4 restrictions. Those were the tightest restrictions. This was a time when people weren't able to give birth in the presence of their husband or partner. They weren't allowed to visit dying relatives in care homes. This is Keir Starmer, who was so quick to condemn Boris Johnson for his indiscretions. When it comes to Keir Starmer himself, was he much the same? Well, earlier we spoke to a number of people about this.
I mean, it's the same old thing coming back again, isn't it? And you look at the standards that Keir Starmer held others to, the number of resignations he called for. You look at what happened to Boris Johnson and Rishi Sunak. We had all the discussions about Durham and so on, where we never really got the answers for it. And if the claims are true that the Times have published here, then he really does have some questions to answer. So I think Prime Minister's questions this week might be a tasty one.
I didn't even really know what a voice coach was and how important they were for being leader of the opposition.
Yeah, I mean, I'd probably consider asking for my money back, but he was Director of Public Prosecutions before. I mean, surely he doesn't need a voice coach, but that's up to him. But then why couldn't he do it via Zoom? Yeah, and people have been calling him two-tier Keir. I mean, perhaps now Tier 4 Keir is more appropriate. So why couldn't it have been done via Zoom? As you said, there was a list that the government made there, nurses, actually essential workers, not just key workers. And I don't think voice coach was on that at all. So it's not just for you to decide. Maybe we need an investigation. Maybe we can find somebody impartial to look into it. I don't think Sue Gray's doing anything at the moment. I'm sure there's no grudges there. Maybe she can look into it.
Well, in the pages of the Times on Sunday, the Sunday Times, it seems that the defence was that Keir Starmer saw her as a key worker, saw this actress as a key worker. But I haven't been able to find a single list that included actresses or voice coaches on the list of these professions. Why do you think now it is that number 10 is refusing to comment on these vocal coach, these acting lessons, whatever they were? Why is number 10 saying, well, it was before the election, we can't say anything?
Yeah, to say, it was when we were in opposition. But remember, these are not our standards. These are the standards Keir Starmer has held others to. So surely his standards haven't changed. He shouldn't have a problem answering the questions. And if he's done nothing wrong and if it was truly essential, then I'm sure he'll be able to justify that. Now, if he can't justify that, then perhaps he can tell us why they've done it. He did say, if I broke any rules, I would resign, presumably if he is sticking to those standards, then he would do that. And I'm not one of these people who nitpicks. Yeah, I used to have people reporting their neighbours because they'd been out for a walk twice or they'd got two different shopping bags and so on. And I think most people just tried to use their common sense, really, stuck to the rules. But it was Keir Starmer and many of his colleagues who actually said, no, you must follow absolutely everything to the letter. They would look at it. Schools not opening.
Yeah, it's the potential hypocrisy that irritates people the most. This does smack of hypocrisy. Keir Starmer, stickler for the rules, obviously took part in hounding Boris Johnson out of a job over all this. And could he be guilty of the same, Andy?
No, I don't think so. I mean, I think that this is the Conservative Party trying to compensate for the fact that they destroyed public trust and actually their own brand as a result of their lockdown rule breaking. And I think, this was clearly for work purposes. I know it's not how most people working on Christmas Eve, seeing a vocal coach, but it is work related. And I just think it's the Tories trying to pass the buck.
So why hasn't he said that, Andy? I get that, but why hasn't he said that? The spokesperson has said, we won't comment on anything before July the 4th, which was when he came to power. I mean, that's ridiculous, isn't it? I mean, a lot happened before July that's still relevant.
Yeah, and I actually, I'm a Labour Party member, a Labour Party supporter, but I've been very critical of their communication style and approach. And I think they'd be far better off being transparent about this and calling out the allegation for what it is, which is a load of rubbish, frankly. And I think they should call out the fact that there are sections of the media and the Conservative Party who have a pathological hatred for Keir Starmer, and they'll do anything and come up with anything to try and discredit him.
Andy, I've got a list in front of me of the approved individuals who could work during Tier 4 restrictions, who could leave their homes and work not from home. Now, these are deemed to be administrative occupations essential to the effective delivery of the COVID-19 response and essential public services such as the payment of benefits, government agencies and arm-length bodies. I don't see actresses or vocal coaches in that list.
Well, as I say, based on the information we have, there's no evidence whatsoever that any rules were broken. This was for work purposes. I know it's unusual.
That's not the rule, though, Andy. Under Tier 4 restrictions, it's not if it's work, it's allowed. It's if the work could be done from home, then it should be done from home. And there's a very small list of people who could work in person. It wasn't simply, as it was under lower tiers than Tier 4, that you can go into work and that being OK. Most people, I mean, I couldn't go into work in December 2024.
Even you weren't considered a key worker, Tom. It's an outrage. It's an outrage.
Look, as I say, it seems to me that this is a perfectly straightforward case. I don't know why the Labour Party and the government aren't being clearer that it's within the rules. And I just think it's Richard Holden, I think it was, for the Tories, who wrote this letter saying, here are all the questions you have to answer. Well, I just think it's the Tories trying to pass the buck, compensate for the fact that their lockdown rule breaking, remember, these were Boris Johnson's rules. Boris Johnson was the Prime Minister who flagrantly and consistently broke lockdown rules, which caused him to need to resign. And, we've been here before.
Yeah, but Andy, the problem is though, Andy, Keir Starmer loved the rules. He wanted more rules. He wanted lockdown to be longer. He thought that Boris Johnson was being too liberal at points in the COVID pandemic.
Well, I think he was right about that. And actually, if you look at the complete disaster of flip-flopping with lockdown and then coming out of lockdown too early and then having to go back into lockdown, I think history has proved Keir Starmer to be right, actually, on that front. And we've been here before. There was this whole Beergate scandal, which actually, proved to be completely made up, exonerated by the Metropolitan Police. And here we are again.
Well, let me know what you make of it all. Do you blame Keir Starmer? Should there be some kind of police investigation? If you enjoyed this video, GBN Originals, please do give this video a like and subscribe to our channel for more content like this.